Okay, we're going to draw this at Thoreau's cabin at 3/8 inch equals a foot. So let me go over to this part. So you can see it's 10 feet by 15 feet. So I've got some dimensions on here. When you download this, this will not be to scale. So do not trace it. Your drawing will be all wrong. And what we're going to do today is we're going to draw this, and then on Monday, we're going to do the dimensions. Don't start the dimensions without the class, because we're not going to do all of the dimensions. So I want you to draw this. I'm going to show you today how to draw it in guidelines, and we'll talk about line weights. A door is a new thing for us, and we have a fireplace here too. So I'll show you how to draw those. Anybody know what this dashed line is right here?
Is it a center line?
It's the center of something. What do you think it's the center of?
Would it be the center of the building, or it'd be the building?
A loft, maybe?
No.
Because aren't
I got it from the studio here. It's the roof. So remember when I said you cut through, when you cut through a building, you'll see things that you didn't cut through as lighter lines down below, and dashed lines are things that are above you. So this is the center, the ridge of the roof, and this is the overhang. So we're going to draw all of this. Today we're going to get it in guidelines, and I think that's probably enough for today. We'll just get it in guidelines, and we'll darken it in dimension on Monday. So I just wanted you to have some background about who Thoreau was and why it's so important. So let me share my camera. And okay. So we were using this yesterday for design presentation, so it's a little out of step. There we go. All right, so I've got my paper on here. Again, I want to be about 3 or 4 inches from the bottom with my parallel rule, and then I'm going to tip the parallel rule up a little bit to line up the paper with the edge and tape it down. And then right below the assignment, it says scale is 3/8 of an inch. So that means we're going to use the 3/8 inch scale, which we haven't drawn with yet. And right below it, it says set up the title block. So the title block is how high?
1 inch.
1 inch. And then I ask you to center the drawing on the available space above the title block. Center the drawing on the sheet. It should be on the available space above the title block. You remember how we did that?
With the, is it the 45-degree triangle?
Nope. Well, you can use a 45-degree triangle.
The easier way is to find the center of the page with the ruler trick.
But we want it centered top and bottom and left and right. So we're gonna find the center using the X. And what I did was I didn't have my longer triangle with me today. So I took 2 shorter triangles, put them together, doesn't matter what they are. And then I can go from the edge where the title block, the 1 inch above, to the upper corner. So then I pull one away and I make a mark. And I do that in the other direction also. You could measure, but this is quicker and more accurate. So that's the center of my paper. So now I want to put the building on. I want half of it above, half below, half to the left, half to the right. So I'm going to pull out my 3/8 inch scale. It shares with the 3/4. So the 3/8 is at one end. So that's the smaller numbers, because it's a smaller scale on that side. And if you're looking at your 3/8 inch scale, what's each increment broken down into? Does anybody know?
One inch.
Yes, 1 inch. If you didn't know, that's on that cheat sheet. So I'm going to put, I need to be 10 feet wide. So I want to find the 5-foot point from that center. So I put 5 feet on the center. I mark at the 0 point, and then I mark at the 10. Can you see that there's two 10s right next to each other? If you're looking at your scale, you want to make sure you get the 10 that is for the 3/8 inch scale. So I've marked that. That's the outside of my building. And draw a line. I'll draw my lines dark. And then we want to go half of 15 up and half of 15 down. So what's half of 15?
7.5.
7.5. Good. I was hoping nobody said 7.5. So if I put my 7 up here and mark down 7'6", then I slide the 0 down and I go back up to 15. Did you guys catch that? I can zoom in a little bit. I'll do it again. So what I do is I put my 7 Sorry, I'm gonna have trouble every time I move this. So I put my 7 at 3/8 at the center point, and I mark down to 7'6". Then I slide the 0 down to that point, and I come back up and mark at 15. So that gives me my top and bottom. That also helps me if I'm a little bit off rather than measuring 7.5 up, make a mark, 7.5 down. If I'm a little bit off, I'm still 15 feet total. So there's the outside of my building, and I said on here the wall thickness is 6 inches. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to mark 6 inches. And these would be light guidelines for you. I'm just going to draw them dark so you can see them. And it would draw a line down. Then I want 6 inches all the way around. I'm going to use my 45-degree triangle to draw the line across. Because if I use that 45-degree triangle, it's the same dimension across, just like when we did the perfect square. And then I'll do it to go up also. Okay, so I've got the outside of my building done. Next thing I want to do is I'm going to tackle the fireplace. So the fireplace is a little tricky, but this is one where just draw what you're given and it will all fit together. So what I'm going to do is that first measurement is 2'6" over from the edge and then 5'7". So I'm going to line up the 6 inches at the edge. Excuse me, I'm going to check my, I have to do it this way. I'm going to line up the 6 inches at the edge and go over 2 feet, 6 inches. And then I'm going to go to the 7 feet. So that gives me 5 feet. So I went over 2'6", and then I marked 7'6". And that's the outside of my fireplace. And the fireplace is 2 feet deep. So I'm going to mark 2 feet. And then I need the opening. So what's this called, this opening part right here? It's on every wood-burning fireplace. Well, not everyone. There's a specific kind that doesn't have it. But what's that opening called?
It's called the flume.
No, the flue is what goes up in the chimney.
Okay. So you're talking about the actual where you would deposit the logs into?
Yes.
I have no idea.
It's called the hearth, H-E-A-R-T-H. So my paper tells me that I need to go over 2'6" and that's 4 feet wide. So I'm going to measure over 2'6" from the center, not from the outside. So I could just measure 3 feet from the outside, which is what I'm going to do. And then it's 4 feet wide, so I'm going to go to 7. So that's my opening. And then I need this center line here. This building is symmetrical. So I need that center line because I want to come back 1 foot. And the way I know that I'm coming back 1 foot is when I look at this, I haven't dimensioned how far back I'm going, but it lines up with this roof overhang, which is 1 foot. So I want to go 1 foot from the back, will be the back of my hearth. So I'm going to just mark in where my roof overhang would be. And you notice when I kind of missed I zoomed out. When I'm measuring a foot, I don't have to go down and measure it at 1 foot. I measured between 16 and 17 feet. So it's a little bit easier. So that would be my roof overhang. It's also lines up with the back of my hearth. And then I know that hearth is 2 feet wide at the back. So 1 foot each side of that center line. And so this is my opening right here. This is one of the few times that your triangle is not resting on the parallel rule because I want to connect those lines. And I'm going to erase a couple just so you can see better what I did. Any questions so far? Okay. Next, we're going to do the door. So the door is 3'9" from the edge, and it's 2'6" wide. But I also know it's dead center. So I'm just going to go 1'3" off each center point. Hold on, I'm going to shut a door. So I'm going to go 1'3" off the center line, and then I'm going to go to that mark I made, and I'm going to go back 2'6". So here's my door opening right there. And then the door is always shown in a 90-degree opening. So I'm going to measure the door from the hinge point, which is right here. And it would be, how wide would that door be?
Isn't it 2 feet and 6 inches?
Yeah, it's got to fit in the opening, right?
Yeah.
So I could measure, or I could just take my 45, go across, and now I know that this is 2'6" exactly. Then I'm going to, the door is going to be 2 inches wide. And that's my door. We will do an arc with a circle template later. It's just like assignment 5. You can even do the circles on the day you take the midterm because you can, it doesn't take very long to do it. It takes like 10 seconds to do this circle. So now I've got 2 windows to do. They're the same on both sides. And you can either measure 6'3", or what did I say about this building? It's perfectly symmetrical. So you could measure 6'3" and then 2'6", or you could come from the center point and go out 1'3" on each side. When I get one drawn, I've got the other one. So I just carried that line across. Then you're going to do the windows. I'm not going to do those in this video because we did them last week, and I want you to go back and see how we did them in last week. So on the assignment, it says the window is the same as the previous exercise. So we're drawing a casement window instead of the double hungs that he had there. He had divided lights too because you couldn't get a big piece of glass back then. So this is what I would like done for next Monday. And we will darken it in and dimension it then. Are there any questions? Say that again? It would be good if you have me check your measurements before you darken it in. So if you can come in here and I can check your measurements, that's all the better. And I think my recording stopped on this. Nope, it's still recording. So any
Francis,
questions?
as far as the door goes, and I know you said we could do that later, but how do you know what the right circle is? Would you use what would make
I'll show you that. I'll show you that on Monday.
Okay.
I'd rather darken this in and show you that on Monday. So the other thing that you can do for Monday is I can take that 45 I did from the corners, and I already measured up the 1 foot for the overhang, and I can just carry that all the way around the building, because you're going to need that for done too. And then we are eventually going to take this building, and I want it turned in with when we do your midterm with your whole packet, because I want to grade it and make sure you drew it correctly. Because if the floor plan is not drawn correctly, your elevations will all be wrong. So it will be up through this drawing that will be due with when we take the midterm on the 19th, because Mondays are the day that are good for you, right, Leona?
Yeah.
Okay,
Mondays
so
are
we're gonna shoot to come in, take the midterm, then go to our egg drop. If it's really crummy weather, we will come in, take the midterm, and we'll do the egg drop at a different time. And so we'll talk next week, but you'll be watching for an email from me over the weekend. And if we're not doing the egg drop, then people can come anytime during the class period to take the midterm. Okay, any questions?